The dry van. Start here because this is where everything starts. The dry van is the default trailer, the one your brain pictures when someone says semi-truck. An enclosed rectangular box, typically 53 feet long, 8.5 feet wide, and 9 feet tall inside. No temperature control, no special features, just walls, a floor, and 2 rear doors. That simplicity is the point. Dry vans carry everything that doesn't need refrigeration and doesn't need to be loaded from the side. Packaged food, paper products, electronics, clothing, furniture, appliances. If it fits on a pallet and survives at ambient temperature, it rides in a dry van. There are approximately 6 million dry van trailers operating in the United States alone, more than any other trailer type by a significant margin. They load at a dock, back up to a raised platform, and freight moves in and out on forklifts and pallet jacks without the trailer ever needing to touch the ground. The rear doors swing outward and lock back against the trailer sides. Simple, reliable, everywhere. The dry van is not glamorous. It is not engineered for extremes. It is engineered for volume, and volume is what keeps the supply chain moving. The refrigerated trailer, or reefer. The dry van has one critical limitation. It cannot protect cargo from temperature. The reefer solves that problem by mounting a diesel-powered refrigeration unit on the front nose of an otherwise standard enclosed trailer. That refrigeration unit is an independent machine. It has its own fuel tank, its own engine, its own controls. It runs continuously, independent of whether the truck is moving or parked, maintaining interior temperatures from positive 65 degrees Fahrenheit for certain produce down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit for frozen goods. Some multi-temperature reefers divide the trailer interior into 2 or 3 separate zones, each held at a different temperature. So one trailer can carry fresh produce, dairy, and frozen meat on the same run. The engineering challenge is not generating cold. It is maintaining consistent temperature as rear doors open repeatedly at each delivery stop, flooding the interior with warm outside air. Modern reefer units recover from door openings quickly, but the thermal management of a multi-stop route is a constant battle between physics and schedule. The reefer is why a strawberry picked in California yesterday is on a breakfast table in New York tomorrow. It is why the pharmaceutical cold chain works across thousands of miles. It is why you do not think about any of this when you open your refrigerator. The flatbed. Some cargo refuses to fit inside a box. The flatbed trailer exists for exactly those situations. No walls, no roof, no sides. Just an open steel platform, typically 48 to 53 feet long, sitting 5 feet off the ground, accessible from every angle. That openness is the point. A crane can lower a steel beam onto it from above. A forklift can approach from the side. Construction equipment can be driven directly onto it from the rear. Cargo that is too tall, too wide, or too oddly shaped for an enclosed trailer rides on a flatbed where dimensions can extend beyond the trailer edges, legally, with permits, in ways that an enclosed box cannot accommodate. Flatbeds carry structural steel, lumber, construction machinery, concrete pipe, roofing materials, and prefabricated building components. The load is secured by chains, binders, and straps, arranged to prevent any movement in any direction. Cargo securement on a flatbed is a skill that takes years to develop properly. A chain placed incorrectly, a strap over the wrong point. These are not minor mistakes at highway speed. The standard flatbed handles up to 48,000 pounds of cargo. It is the trailer that builds the buildings you work in and the roads you drive on. The step deck or drop deck. The flatbed has one limitation. Its deck height, 5 feet off the ground, counts against the legal maximum height of 13 feet 6 inches. That leaves only 8 feet 6 inches for the cargo itself. For tall equipment, that is not enough. The step deck solves the problem by dropping the main deck lower, creating 2 levels. A short upper deck at standard flatbed height runs from the front of the trailer near the tractor. The main lower deck drops down behind it, sitting approximately 3.5 feet off the ground. That lower deck gives tall cargo 2 additional feet of clearance, often the difference between a legal move and one that requires a special permit. Construction equipment, large generators, industrial machinery with tall profiles, anything that rides on a flatbed but needs more vertical room rides on a step deck instead. The stepped profile is immediately recognizable on the highway, the front section riding high, the rear running lower, with the transition point visible as a clear change in deck elevation. Step decks handle up to 48,000 pounds, same as a standard flatbed. The difference is entirely vertical. The Lowboy. Go heavier, go taller, go further beyond the dimensions a step deck can handle, and you arrive at the Lowboy. Also called a double drop trailer, the Lowboy drops its main cargo deck all the way down to approximately 18 inches off the ground by using 2 vertical drops, one behind the gooseneck at the front and one before the rear axles. That extremely low deck height is what makes the Lowboy essential for the heaviest and tallest loads in the industry. A large excavator riding on a Lowboy sits with its cab perhaps 10 feet off the ground. On a standard flatbed, that same machine might reach 14 or 15 feet, illegal without permits on most roads. Lowboys typically carry 40 to 80 tons depending on axle configuration. Extended Lowboys with additional axle groups push that capacity higher. The rear section of many Lowboys is removable, called a detachable rear, allowing equipment to be driven directly onto the deck from behind rather than craned on from above. Mining equipment, large excavators, bulldozers, military vehicles, industrial components too heavy for standard trailers. purpose. If it is big, heavy, and does not fit anywhere else, it rides on a Lowboy, the extendable flatbed. Length is the problem the extendable flatbed was built to solve. A standard trailer runs 53 feet. An extendable flatbed starts there and stretches further, using a telescoping rear section that slides out to increase deck length. Some configurations extend to 80 feet. Specialized versions reach beyond 100 feet for particularly long loads. Wind turbine blades were one of the loads that drove demand for extendable trailers. Steel beams for long bridge spans, structural columns for high-rise construction, pipe sections for major pipeline projects, any cargo where length is the critical dimension and standard trailers simply come up short. The extended trailer changes everything about how the truck handles. Turning radius increases dramatically. The rear of the trailer scribes a wider arc through every corner. Route planning becomes critical. Low bridges, tight intersections, and short on-ramps that a standard rig navigates without thinking become obstacles that require advanced survey and sometimes avoidance entirely. The extendable flatbed is not common. It is a specialist tool for a specialist problem, but when you need 80 feet of deck, there is no substitute. The tanker. Liquid does not stack. It does not palletize. It does not ride on a flatbed or fit in a dry van. Liquid needs a container that contains it completely, and the tanker trailer is that container. A standard fuel tanker holds between 5,000 and 11,500 gallons distributed across multiple internal compartments, each separately sealable. Different fuel grades, diesel, gasoline, premium, ride in the same trailer in separate compartments without mixing. Every gas station you pass on the highway is restocked by a tanker operating on a rotation calculated to prevent running dry. The engineering challenge of liquid cargo is stability. Liquid moves inside the tank when the truck brakes or turns. That shifting weight, called slosh, changes the truck's center of gravity dynamically in ways solid cargo does not. A tanker driver feeling the load move during hard braking is experiencing a physics problem that could make the truck unstable if not managed correctly. Internal baffles inside the tank reduce liquid movement but cannot eliminate it entirely. Beyond fuel, tankers carry milk, chemicals, liquid food products, water, and industrial acids. Each commodity requires different tank materials, different sealing systems, different cleaning protocols between loads. The same trailer that carries milk cannot carry hazardous chemicals without complete decontamination. The bulk pneumatic tanker. Not all tankers carry liquid. The bulk pneumatic tanker carries dry bulk materials, flour, sugar, plastic pellets, cement powder, sand, using air pressure rather than gravity to unload. The trailer is a sealed cylindrical or conical tank. At the destination, a compressor pressurizes the tank interior, and the dry material is blown through hoses directly into storage silos, mixing vessels, or processing equipment. No manual unloading. No contact with outside air or moisture. The cargo flows like a liquid under pressure even though it is a solid. Flour mills, plastic manufacturing plants, cement batching operations, chemical processing facilities, anywhere that receives bulk dry materials at scale uses pneumatic tankers for delivery. The round, cylindrical shape of these trailers on the highway is distinctive once you know what you're looking at. The hopper bottom. Gravity does the work the pneumatic trailer does with air. The hopper bottom trailer carries bulk dry goods, grain, fertilizer, sand, gravel, plastic resin in a large enclosed body with a sloped floor that funnels material to discharge gates at the bottom. Open the gates, gravity pulls the load down and out. The angled floor ensures the entire load discharges without residue building up in corners. Hopper bottoms are fundamental to agriculture. Grain elevators, feed mills, fertilizer distributors. They also appear throughout construction material supply chains, wherever bulk dry commodities need to move from origin to destination efficiently. The distinction between a hopper bottom and a pneumatic tanker comes down to the destination's receiving infrastructure. A silo with a pneumatic inlet needs a pneumatic tanker. A receiving pit at floor level can take a hopper bottom dump. The cargo may be identical. The trailer depends on where it is going. The curtain sider. The curtain sider is common in Europe and Australia, and less familiar in North America, which is a gap in American logistics, thinking that the industry is slowly correcting. It is an enclosed trailer whose sides are not rigid walls, but heavy fabric curtains that run on tracks, sliding open along the full length of the trailer. The advantage is access. A forklift can approach from the side and load or unload at any point along the trailer's length without repositioning. No need to back into a dock. No need to stage cargo in a precise sequence based on door access. The whole side opens and freight moves efficiently from any angle. Curtain siders carry palletized goods, building materials, and manufactured products where side access speeds up loading operations. In markets where curtain siders are common, drivers report dramatically faster turn times at delivery stops compared to rear door only trailers. The car carrier. Every vehicle on every dealership lot arrived on a car carrier, and the engineering of that carrier is more intricate than it looks from the highway. Auto transport trailers use multiple decks on hydraulically adjustable ramps, with each deck angle individually controllable to accommodate vehicles of different heights, within legal road height limits. A standard open carrier holds 8 to 10 vehicles across 2 levels, with the upper deck extending forward over the tractor cab to maximize the number of cars per trip. Loading sequence is not random. It is a puzzle worked backward from the delivery route. The last vehicle to be delivered loads first, at the most accessible position. The first delivery loads in the most difficult spot. Each vehicle is secured at all 4 wheels by straps and chains. The entire loaded trailer is a carefully balanced structure of vehicles vehicles that cannot move relative to each other while traveling at highway speed. The economics are tight. Carriers are paid per vehicle delivered. Every empty deck space is lost revenue. Route planning, vehicle sequence, and loading efficiency determine whether a car carrier operation is profitable. Drivers who do this work solve a spatial and logistical puzzle at every pickup and delivery stop across the entire route. The livestock trailer. Cargo that is alive has needs that cargo in boxes does not. The livestock trailer is built around the biology of the animals inside. Ventilation systems that maintain airflow without creating drafts that stress the animals. Solid floors with drainage. Divider gates that separate animals into manageable groups to prevent injury during movement. Ramps at loading and unloading that accommodate how animals actually move. Cattle, hogs, sheep, and horses each have different requirements for space, ventilation, and floor surface. A hog trailer designed for confined pen loading is a different configuration than a horse trailer designed for individual stall loading. The regulations governing livestock transport, rest periods, food and water access, travel time limits, add operational complexity that a standard freight move does not carry. The livestock trailer is one of the oldest specialized trailer types and one of the least changed, because the biology it serves has not changed. The container chassis. The intermodal container, the steel box that ships ocean freight, needs a road-legal vehicle to move it from the port to its final destination. The container chassis is that vehicle, a minimal steel frame, little more than a backbone with axles and a locking system, designed to carry a standard 20-foot or 40-foot shipping container as if it were a trailer itself. The container locks onto the chassis at 4 corner casting points using twist locks, a quarter turn that secures the container against any vertical or horizontal movement. The driver backs under the container, which has been prepositioned by a port crane or yard straddle carrier, engages the twist locks, and the container becomes a functional trailer. Container chassis operations tie ocean freight directly to road freight without rehandling the cargo. The same box that left a factory in China, rode a container ship across the Pacific, and was lifted off at the port of Los Angeles, can be delivered to a warehouse in Denver on the same chassis without anyone opening the doors. Every mile of road you have ever driven, every store shelf you have ever browsed, every package you have ever received, behind all of it is a trailer matched to a specific cargo need by someone who understood both the freight and the engineering. A dry van for your groceries, a reefer for your medicine, a flatbed for the steel in your building, a lowboy for the machines that build the roads you drive on, a tanker for the fuel that powers everything. The trailer does not get the attention. The tractor gets the attention, but the trailer is the reason any of it works. If you want to see part 2, logging trailers, side dumps, belly dumps, extendable multi-axle platforms, and the specialized trailers most people will never see on a public road, hit like and subscribe. I make these breakdowns every week.